So I'm going to add a drop of water. Like this one is a bit big of a puddle, so all it is just a... I have a little, what do you call there? Yeah, somewhere. Anyway, so we just want to thin it a little smidge. We're not making a wash by any means. So we're thin that. I'll just put that one in there because this one's a bit... So it's just a little thinner. That's all. Nothing big with it. And then we're going to take... So I'll just pull that out of the camera view.
Oh, I forgot to bring my black lamp. I saw it on the list too.
Okay. All right, you guys. We're videoing. Okay, so we're going to double load, pardon me, in our Plantation Pine and Lush Green. When I put my brush down, I want the dark, which is Plantation Pine, next to, and I'm just going to nice and softly just swipe it up. So wherever a piece crosses over, that's where your dark goes. So up here, so I keep flipping my brush. Dark is towards there, and I will slide it up. I'm going to need a little more paint as you run out. Reload. But you see how, because we've got that one little drop of water in there, it thins it a bit, so it's not painting it. And just, whoops, just come up and add it. So here again, the dark would be up, and here the dark facing there. So dark down, pardon me, here I am, and dark up here. So anywhere that it crosses over, the dark is going to go next to it and come down. That is going to be our shading, of course, where we would shade. So you're going to go through your piece and do it like that.
Anything raspberry. Okay.
Okay, we are going to start by shading. Now, you can use your 3/8 on the big petals. On the little petals, of course, we're going to use our 1/4 inch. And we're going to walk it out a bit just by chiseling it up. So you shade and chisel up.
That's the royal purple.
This is not. This is lavender. Lavender is the lighter. So you see how I chisel my way upwards? So that's just, it's nice. You don't have to walk it out. And it brings up those little tiny lines, okay? And they are tiny. So it's, again, I'll do another one. Always in behind your petals. Using your flat of your brush, your paint is down. Your water part is up, and just chisel upwards. All right, that's what we're going to do. So now we're going to shade with royal purple to strengthen up the divisions between our petals. So it's just a float of royal purple. If you feel you need to pull a few little vein parts up, go ahead, like so. But it's not necessary to do that. You can just strengthen everything with your shading. All right? We're going to float a highlight of white along the top of your petals. So you start at the top and work your way down. And it's just a highlight. If your lines are very dark and you feel like, oh, I can really see my transfer lines, you can go back and do a second coat. But remember, we are outlining, so that is going to help. So it just strengthens up the top and just walk it down a little bit. All right, so that's going to be our highlight on the top of all petals. Always start at the background petal and work your way. I'm going to thin down my colors to make my background phantom leaves. So I take a little bit of my plantation pine and a little of my lush green. I've got both of those on the brush. I'm going to dip in water and I'm going to create, now see, that's like a wash, way too much paint. So we keep going with water and make what we would call dirty water. So that now works well. So you see how watery it is. I don't know if that was under the camera at all. So I'm going to blot on a paper towel for a second so that it's not going to pool. And now I'll just take and I'm going to come up and I skip over wherever I'm touching a flower. And I'm going to create what we call a phantom leaf. So we want these to come, and they don't just go the direction of your leaves that are already there. You want them to change directions so that it's not all going one way. And I'm going over the bumps and ripples, so it was creating a nice little mess there. So you're going to put in as many as you like with this and have a few. Then I'm going to take a little tiny bit of the purple and go into my brown or my greens, and they will get kind of browny, but you'll still know that that
white?
has lovely. I did. Thank you. You'll still know that the purple is in there. You'll see it, even though they look kind of greeny. So see how you can tell that there's purple in there. So we want like just a tint of purple in a few of them. You don't want to go too crazy, but a little bit of purple in the backgrounds. This is what we're calling shadow or phantom leaves. So I'm going to double load warm white and avocado toast. And with my white down and my green up, it's going to become like a limey kind of green underneath the flower. So that's just at the base of all of our flowers. I'll just move that so you can see it on the bigger one. So the white is down and the green is up. It'll be like a transparent kind of a thing. So yeah, remind you of onions. So it's like so here. We just want to come from the purple and down. That's the only guy who's going to get it there. Okay, so that's what we're doing.
When you did, it was, I didn't.
We're going to start for our stamens in the middle by, I didn't trace them onto here, by starting with the golden yellow. And I just come down like so. Then I'm going to move to the golden sunset yellow. Thank you. Okay, so when we do that, we start down a little lower. Dirty brush, just on top of that, you're leaving some of that brighter yellow in the background. And then I take the same dirty brush and I'm going to pick up some burnt orange, which is even going to be lower. So they go from dark to medium to light. So you do the same thing in all of them. They will be outlined, so they will be defined. I'm going to use my Identa pen, okay? And I'm going to outline. Now you want to make sure your piece is dry before you do this. You don't want to ruin your pen. Coat it with a film of wet paint. And I'll come up underneath just to add a few little. If you kind of skip a little bit, you know what I mean by not exactly lining your leaf. Maybe see, I'll come down, there's a little bit of white there. That's fine. We're not looking to look perfect. We just want to have some inking lines defining it. So again, I'll pull a few little lines up in there, and I'm going to outline my little stamens. Now you do, again, make sure that everything is dry, because these kind of stayed wet and raised for a bit there. So I've given it a nice hit with my blow dryer. And I'm going to come up like so. And again, it's going to, the same thing on my leaves. I'll outline some leaves. And I'll just add a few scratchy lines throughout, just to give, because the leaves do have those nice little ridges in them. So outline that, pull a few little lines up. Okay, so the whole thing gets outlined. You can pull a few in behind there if you want. We don't varnish on this, but the Identi-Pen can be varnished over. It does not smear, so it's a great one to use in your other pieces. All right. And it has two ends, so you can have a fat end or a skinny end. So we're just going to come through, add some little lines. See how I made that a little wobbly? I'll just come down the side. And that's how we're going to finish off our piece. We can add some stamps and borders and whatever you might like to put on there. Alrighty.